My wife texted, "My mistress understands me better than you." I replied, "Then let her have you." By morning, his clothes were packed, the locks were changed, and his mistress was calling me cruel. 2 weeks later, he wanted his marriage back. But I had already chosen peace over being someone's backup plan. Original post: I'm Caleb, 35M. My wife, Vanessa, is 33F. We had been married for 7 years and together for almost 10. We lived in a townhouse in Raleigh, North Carolina. The mortgage was in both our names, but the down payment came from money I had saved before marriage, and I had every bank statement to prove it. Vanessa worked as an event coordinator at a hotel downtown. I work as a logistics manager for a medical supply company. Nothing glamorous. Good benefits, steady pay, early mornings, late emails, and a lot of spreadsheets. Our marriage had been strange for about 8 months, not terrible every day, just hollow. She started staying late at work, then work dinners, then weekend vendor meetings. She got protective of her phone in a way that would have been funny if it had not been so obvious. Face down on the table. Password changed, taking calls in the garage, laughing quietly, then going flat the second I walked in. I asked once, "Is there someone else?" She rolled her eyes and said, "You are so insecure lately. It is exhausting." That was her favorite word. Exhausting. My questions were exhausting. My need for honesty was exhausting. My request that she tell me where she was overnight was exhausting. So I stopped asking, not because I believed her, because I started preparing. I opened a folder on my laptop called Taxes. Inside it, I saved screenshots, bank statements, credit card charges, hotel receipts, and Ring camera clips of her coming home at 2:14 in the morning wearing the same dress she left in the day before. Then last Friday, she sent the text that ended our marriage. I was sitting in my truck outside a grocery store, holding a receipt for $86.43. Vanessa had promised her sister we would watch her golden retriever for the weekend, then forgot to buy anything for it. My phone buzzed. "Vanessa, I'm done pretending I'm happy. My mistress understands me better than you ever did." I stared at the word mistress for a full 10 seconds. Not girlfriend, not someone. Mistress, like she had practiced the cruelty and wanted it to sound dramatic. Then another text came. "Maybe if you had paid attention, I would not have needed comfort somewhere else." I did not shake. I did not call her. I did not send a paragraph. I did not ask who she was. I replied with one sentence. "Then let her have you." That was it. 4 words. I put the groceries in the truck, drove home, and called my brother Grant. He owns a pickup and has the emotional sensitivity of a brick wall, which is exactly what I needed. He answered with, "Who died?" I said, "My marriage." He said, "Finally." That made me laugh for the first time in weeks. Vanessa was still at work or wherever she was calling work now. I had maybe 6 hours. I packed her clothes first. Not thrown, not destroyed, folded. Dresses in garment bags, shoes in boxes, makeup wrapped in towels. Laptop charger, hair tools, framed photos from her side of the dresser, the little ceramic dish where she kept her rings when she remembered she was married. I put everything in the guest room. Then I packed my things from the master bedroom and moved them into the downstairs office. I was not leaving the house. Not yet. But I was not sleeping next to someone who texted me about her mistress like she had won a prize. At 9:37 p.m., Vanessa came home. She was smiling when she opened the door. That smile lasted 3 seconds. She saw Grant on the stairs carrying another suitcase. She saw boxes in the hallway. She saw me standing by the kitchen island with my wedding ring beside a printed copy of her text. She said, "What the hell is this?" I said, "Your things are packed. You can take them tonight or schedule a time with Grant tomorrow. I am not fighting." She looked at the paper, then at me. "You printed it?" "Yes." "That is insane." "No, Vanessa. Texting your husband that your mistress understands you better is insane. Printing it is organization." She tried to laugh like I was being dramatic. Then she said I was angry. "You were supposed to fight for me." I said, "I am not competing with your mistress for my own marriage." That was when her face changed, because she realized I was serious. Update 1. 4 days later, the first night was messy, but not loud on my end. Vanessa went from outrage to tears to bargaining in less than 20 minutes. She said the mistress was not serious. Then she said it was emotional, not physical. Then she said physical, but only twice. Then she said it had been going on since February, but I had emotionally abandoned her first. I just kept saying the same thing. You need to leave tonight, or you need to sleep in the guest room and leave tomorrow. We can discuss the house through attorneys. She called me cold. I said I learned from the best. Grant stayed until midnight. Vanessa refused to leave and locked herself in the guest room. I slept in the office with a chair against the door, not because I thought she would hurt me, because I did not trust drama. The next morning, she was gone. So was the wedding album from the living room and my grandmother's silver watch from the dresser. I texted Vanessa once. Return the watch by 6 p.m. or I file a police report. She replied it was in the house. Half of everything is mine. The watch appeared in our mailbox at 548. No apology. Just the watch wrapped in a napkin from a coffee shop. By day 2, the flying monkeys arrived. Her sister, Paige, texted first. I know Vanessa hurt you, but marriage is complicated. Throwing her out is cruel. I replied she told me she has a mistress and blamed me for it. I did not throw her out. I accepted her decision. Paige said she says you are making it sound worse, so I sent the screenshot. There was no reply for almost an hour. Then Paige wrote, I did not know she used those words. Of course she did not. People like Vanessa never send the full quote to the rescue team. By day 3, her best friend McKenna messaged me on Instagram. You are really going to destroy 7 years over one mistake. I replied it was not one mistake. It was a relationship. She called the person her mistress. McKenna sent, that word does not mean what you think. I wrote, it means enough for a divorce lawyer. Blocked. I walked out with my phone recording in my shirt pocket. She said, can we please talk like adults? I said, we can talk through lawyers. She lowered her voice. You are embarrassing me. I almost smiled. I said, Vanessa, you texted me that your mistress understands you better than I do. I am not the source of your embarrassment. I am just no longer helping you hide it. She started crying right there in the parking lot. A security guard from our building came over and asked if everything was okay. I said, she is leaving. Vanessa looked at him and said, I am his wife. I said, she is also having an affair and has been asked not to come to my workplace. The guard politely walked her to her car. That evening, I changed the alarm code and scheduled a consultation with a family law attorney named Dana. The consultation was $250, worth every dollar. Dana told me not to leave the house without an agreement. Document everything. Communicate in writing. Do not take bait. Do not block if we needed records, but do not respond unless necessary. So that became my rule. Read, screenshot, save, silence. Update 2, 3 weeks later, the mistress had a name, Aubrey. I learned that from Vanessa, because subtlety has never been her talent. She sent me an email with the subject line, since you want to act like I'm evil. The email was 12 paragraphs. Apparently Aubrey was 29, worked as a wedding photographer, lived in Durham, and saw the real Vanessa when I only saw a wife who did laundry and paid bills. Then Aubrey called me. I did not answer. She left a voicemail. Hi Caleb, this is Aubrey. I know this is difficult, but Vanessa is not okay. She feels unsafe with how quickly you turned on her. I think the three of us need to sit down and have an honest conversation. The three of us. My wife's mistress wanted a conference. I saved the voicemail and sent it to Dana. Dana replied, do not engage. This helps. The next day, Aubrey sent me a message on LinkedIn. I understand you're hurt, but punishing Vanessa financially is abuse. That was new, financial abuse. Vanessa had access to our joint account. She had her own salary. She had 2 credit cards. I had not touched either. The only thing I had done was remove my direct deposit from the joint checking after paying the mortgage and utilities for the month. I replied once through email, copying Dana. All communication regarding finances or property should go through counsel. Then Aubrey blocked me, which was helpful, honestly. Week 2 brought the fake crisis. Vanessa texted at 1:18 a.m., "I might be pregnant." I sat up in bed and stared at the message. Then I remembered, we had not been intimate since November. It was April. I replied, "If you are pregnant, consult a doctor and your attorney." Based on timing, it would not be mine. She wrote back instantly, "You are disgusting." I did not respond. At 1:42 a.m., Paige texted, "Vanessa is hysterical. Can you stop being cruel for one night?" I sent Paige one sentence. "We have not had sex in 5 months." Paige replied, "Oh my God." Then nothing. The next morning, Vanessa changed tactics. She posted a photo on Facebook of her hand without a ring, captioned, "Sometimes the person who promised forever becomes the person who abandons you when you are most vulnerable." There were sad emojis. Then my Aunt Denise commented, "Did he abandon you before or after you texted him about your mistress?" The post disappeared in 11 minutes. I sent Aunt Denise flowers, $64.99 plus delivery. Worth it. The escalation became practical after that. Vanessa filed a police report claiming I had stolen her camera equipment. That was bold because the equipment belonged to Aubrey. I knew because Aubrey had left 2 camera bags in our garage once after a vendor shoot, back when I still believed vendor shoot meant vendor shoot. An officer came to the house. I showed him emails, the list of Vanessa's packed belongings, ring footage of her taking bags, and a text from Vanessa saying, "Aubrey wants her lens bag back." The officer looked tired. He said, "This is a civil matter and also it sounds like the property is not your wife's." I said, "That is my understanding." He left after 15 minutes. That same week I got promoted. Interim regional routing lead. Not huge, not life-changing. But it came with a $9,000 raise and the kind of responsibility I had been quietly working toward for 2 years. I did not post about it. She texted, "Amazing how you thrive while I'm falling apart." I typed a response, deleted it, and saved the message. Because that was the difference now. Old me would have explained. New me documented. Final update, 3 months later the divorce did not go to trial. It almost did. Vanessa wanted half the house equity, half my retirement growth from the marriage, temporary support, attorney fees, and reimbursement for emotional labor. The house was the biggest fight. We bought it 4 years into the marriage, but I had put down $48,000 from premarital savings. Dana had the bank statements. Vanessa's name was on the mortgage, so she had a marital interest, but not the fantasy number she wanted. Her first settlement demand was $92,000. Mine was $27,500, and she signs a quitclaim deed. She called me cheap. I said nothing. Aubrey sent me one more email. Subject, "Please stop destroying her." I forwarded it to Dana. Dana sent a cease and desist letter to both of them. Cost me $425. Best money I spent that month. The letter said any further direct contact would be treated as harassment and used in support of a protective order if necessary. It listed the workplace visit, the parking lot scene, the pregnancy scare, the property report, and Aubrey's direct messages. After that, Aubrey disappeared. Vanessa did not. She showed up at the townhouse on a rainy Tuesday evening with Paige. I watched them on the Ring camera from inside the office. Vanessa knocked like the police. I opened the door with the chain on. She looked thinner, tired, no makeup. Paige stood behind her with that embarrassed family member look people get when they know they are participating in nonsense but came anyway. Vanessa said, "I need to come in." I said no. She said, "This is my house too." I said, "Your attorney can arrange a supervised time to collect anything remaining." She said, "Caleb, please." Aubrey left. There it was. The real emergency. I said, "That has nothing to do with me." Vanessa's face crumpled. She said, "I made a mistake." I said, "You made hundreds of choices and called them one mistake." Paige looked down at her shoes. Vanessa whispered, I thought you would fight harder. I said for us I would have. Against your mistress, no. I closed the door. 2 weeks later, we settled. I refinanced the townhouse in my name. Vanessa got $35,000 from equity, no support, no attorney fees from me, and kept her car, which still had $6,800 left on the loan. She had to pay that herself. I kept the house, my retirement, my truck, my grandmother's watch, and my peace. After the judge signed everything, she walked up and said, I hope someday you understand I was lonely. I said, I do understand loneliness. I just did not use it as permission to betray someone. She had no answer. Paige said, Aubrey dumped her because the divorce was too messy. I nodded. Vanessa had blown up a marriage for someone who did not want the smoke after the fire started. 3 months later, I am still in the townhouse. I started running again, slowly at first. 1 mile, then 2, then 5. Grant bullied me into joining a Saturday morning hiking group, which I complained about until I met Erin. Erin is 32, a physical therapist, and very direct. On our second date, I told her the short version of the divorce. She said, I do not do triangles. If I want someone else, I leave before I look. That sentence did more for me than 6 months of Vanessa's apologies would have. We are not rushing anything. I am not trying to replace a wife with a girlfriend. I am learning what peace feels like when it is not constantly interrupted by suspicion. The quiet after the divorce was strange at first. I kept expecting footsteps in the hall, a phone lighting up face down, or a cold comment disguised as a joke. Instead, there was nothing. Just the refrigerator humming, my running shoes by the door, and a house that finally felt like mine again. Grant came over one Saturday and helped me clear out the last box from the garage. It had old holiday decorations, broken picture frames, and a wine glass from our wedding set wrapped in newspaper. I held it for a second, then put it in the donation pile. Grant said, You good? I said, Not always. He nodded. Then I said, But I am done going backward. That felt honest, not dramatic, not heroic, just true. Some endings do not feel like victory at first. They feel like finally putting down weight you carried alone for years. Vanessa emailed once after the divorce. Just one line, Do you ever miss me? I stared at it for a while, then I archived it. No response. The lesson I learned is simple. When someone introduces a third person into your relationship, do not audition for the role you already had. Do not beg to be chosen by someone who already chose to betray you. The second I stopped competing, the whole illusion collapsed. She did not want freedom. She wanted options. She wanted a husband at home, a mistress on the side, sympathy from everyone and consequences from no one. I could not control her choices. I could control mine. So I chose documentation over drama, silence over screaming, divorce over humiliation, peace over being someone's backup plan. And I would make that choice again. If you have ever faced something similar, or if you think I handled this right or went too far, tell me your opinion in the comments. Please subscribe, like, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it.